All right, this is first grade, Module 1, Lesson 33. And in this lesson, we're going to be modeling what it looks like or how to represent subtracting by 0 and subtracting by 1. In this lesson, we use, of course, pictorial method, but they're using a thing that kind of looks like a reck and rec, where you have 5 black dots and 5 white dots, and they're doing it in group of 5, right? Well, I prefer, and just heads up, I prefer to use the 10 frame because it's a model that we're going to be using in later modules and in later grades. So take that for a grain of salt, whether you use the model that is given in Eureka Math or if you use the 10 frame. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. I'm going to use the 10 frame.
So here you see what I'm talking about. They're doing it in the 5 group. So they've got the 5 dots and then the 3 dots, and that's what represents 8, right? So if we were to show what this would look like using the method being, I don't know, advertised, I guess, by Eureka Math, 9 minus 1 would look like this. So they'd want us to do 5 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they would want us to do 4 dots that are white. So that's how we would begin the modeling process, with the 5 group plus the 4, and that's how we get 9. And then to show the subtraction, they want us to just cross off one of those dots, and then we'd count. Well, 5 plus 3 is 8, so the answer is 8. Now, I am going to say I would prefer to model it using the 10 frame. And then what that would look like, this is just the Gospel of Duane, I guess, but I would model my 9 by doing like this. And you can see the connections between their picture, which is 5 dots plus 4 dots, and my picture, 5 dots plus 4 dots, right? There's the connection. And, you know, just like in the other method, you cross off 1 because it says subtract 1, so I'm going to cross off 1, and that leaves us with 8 left over. All right. So now I just prefer to use 10 frames. They are using the bracelets, and they're using these little 5-group dots kind of a thing. I just prefer the 10 frame. So I think that would be the first thing I would do, is hand out little 10 frames to each of my students and let them model. I will take a look at questions 3 right down here. So we're going to begin by modeling the 6, and that's this 6, not this 6. So we're going to model the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're being told we have to cross off something so that we have 6 left over. Well, that means we're not going to cross off anything. So that means it's 6 minus 0 is equal to 6. Just a little bit of a heads up there. So here it says, write the subtraction number sentence to match the 5-group drawing. So of course we're kind of being forced to use the way Eureka Math is showing us, and that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I just prefer using the 10 frame idea. But let's model it. So let's take a look up here. So we see we've got 6 dots all together because you've got 5 plus 1 is 6. And so our number sentence would be 6 minus 1, because we're only crossing off 1. And that gives us 5. If we go to here, so we've got 7, because we could see 5 plus 2 is 7. And we see 7, and then nothing is being crossed off. So that means it's going to be 7 minus 0, which is still 7. There you go. You get the idea. The one thing is, if we wanted to model this with 10 frames instead, if you wanted to download the doc file and turn this into 10 frames instead of these dots, what would it look like? Well, let's do that for question 13. Question 13 says we're going to start off with 8 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because we can see that there's 5 plus 3, so there's 5 plus 3. So there's our 8 dots, and we can see that we're crossing off 1, so what would that look like? That would just cross off this 1 right here, and that gives us 7 left over. And so what would our number sentence be? Well, that would be 8 minus 1 equals 7. So you as the teacher get to choose. Do you want to use these 5 grouping beads representation or the 10 frame? And last one, just more of the same. The idea is students really might be needing some sort of representation, whether they use the 10 frame or the dots. It's entirely up to them. I'll model both ways. Let's take a look at A. First thing we're going to do is we're going to model 7. All right, so modeling 7 would look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need 6, 7. So there's our 7. And we can see that somehow we're going to cross off something and get down to 6. So that means we need to cross off 1 in order to get to our 6. So the answer would be 7 minus 1 equals 6. And lastly, if we wanted to, we could do, let's do question, F. Let's do question F. So I'm going to take my little 10 frame, I'm going to move it right here, and we're going to begin by setting it up. And because it says we start with 10, because remember, this is the difference over here. So we're going to start with 10, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it says that we are going to go from 10, subtract something, and end up at 9. So, of course, we can see, we have to cross off 1 of our little dots, and that gives us 9 left over. And so our answer, our missing value, is 1. And parents and teachers, we want to connect. What does this 10 mean? It means all the dots. What does this 1 mean? It means the 1 that we crossed off. What does the 9 mean? It means all of them left over. We want to connect the number sentence with the model that's going on. And that wraps up first grade Module 1, Lesson 33, where we are using pictures to model subtraction problems where we are subtracting 0 and subtracting 1.